So welcome everybody to our call. We are talking tonight about why you need these drops. And my name is Michele McCay. I am calling from Port Charlotte, Florida, where we have a house full of people talking about the drops. And I'm so glad you joined us. So you were either invited by someone who thought enough about you to see that you needed change in your life on these drops and to get some amazing results in your health journey, or you were invited because you want a journey to wealth. So either way, I'm so thankful that you're on these drops and so thankful you are on this call. And so we are going to invite Todd Rowland, who is a master's in nutrition, a master's in kinesiology, has a world of knowledge on these drops. And I want him to share in just a moment about why you need these drops. But Todd, do you want to go first or you want me to share my story first? I'm going to give you the option.
I'll let you share your story first.
Okay. Well, I want to share with you guys why I have such a passion to get these drops in the hands of billions. It has changed from millions to billions because we've already got these drops in the hands of millions. My story started with brain fog, and that was 14 years ago. And I was prescribed several things that got rid of brain fog for only a matter of weeks until I was started on our amazing products. And I got rid of brain fog in 3 days with a product called Renew. And I was approached by Cynthia Bolden after driving down the road and not knowing where I was going. I was in sheer terror. And let me tell you why. And it's because my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 55, and I was 45 at the time. My mother died at 62. And when brain fog started, I was 45. Okay. So you can imagine, I was afraid that I had the same death as my mother. And I was determined I was not going to have that. So I reached out to my friend, Cynthia Bolden, who's an expert nutritionist and herbalist. She said, "You do not have Alzheimer's. And I've got a product that has given me the focus of a 20-year-old. And I said, Cynthia, I need the focus of a 20-year-old. So please share. So y'all, I truly believe not only Renew, but the drops took care of the brain fog for me. I have not had brain fog in a year and a half. So we know that these drops correct insulin resistance because I heard from Todd Rowland that something that changed my life. Now, I was not interested in promoting these drops to anyone else at the time, except for maybe my menopause following. But when I heard Todd Rowland say, insulin resistance in the brain or type 3 diabetes is the leading cause of Alzheimer's, I knew that I had to get these drops in the hands of millions, not only in honor of my mother, but in honor of everybody who has battled this living death called Alzheimer's. And so now we are ignited to get these drops in the hands of billions. And I know that they are helping so many others prevent Alzheimer's in their life. And I am living proof that I no longer have fear of Alzheimer's. So Todd, I want you to share. So past my story, and I know that that is maybe not everybody's story. Not everybody wants to prevent Alzheimer's in their life or has that history. Some people have other issues that they want these drops in their life for: hormone balance, correct the insulin resistance. Mine just happened to start with brain fog. But Todd, I want you to share, what is the majority of people, why they need these drops? That's a big reason, Alzheimer's, because we know that insulin resistance is a precursor not only to Alzheimer's, but diabetes, heart disease, strokes, all those things. But what can you tell us why the majority of people need these drops?
Well, Michele, I want to begin with giving a disclaimer that we don't cure anything or don't really claim to, and I also want to share that I'm a more of information, not actually the researcher. So when she says that I said that, I didn't do the studies. So I tell everybody, this is not our company's information. It's not our product information. This is the leading research scientist in America. So if you go dig yourself, whether it be YouTube, social media, online, you're going to see this stat. And the stat is that 70% of Americans today have elevated blood sugar. It's called a couple of different things, but they all mean the same thing. Some people call it insulin insensitivity. People call it metabolic syndrome. Others call it metabolic dysfunction. But what that is, for those that don't understand it, is your blood sugar is elevated, but it hasn't reached the marker on your A1C or your resting glucose for the doctor to tell you that you're pre-diabetic, which is just a number on that scale. And then the next stage, obviously, is the next marker up is you're called a full-blown type 2 diabetic. You're more than insulin sensitive now. You have a real problem. Your insulin is not working very well anymore. And a lot of research shows that if you have this issue long before you're pre-diabetic, we all know pre-diabetics and type 2 diabetics are so much more susceptible to everything, from neuropathy in their feet. Cardiovascular risk is just exponentially high. Stroke risk, you name it, it's there. Cancer risk. But one of the things that is now out there in all of the research is, long before you're even a pre-diabetic, that I would say the conservative doctors in the know are now saying you're 10 times more likely for all of those events. And then you flip it over, as Michelle mentioned, it is the leading cause of Alzheimer's. I'm not sure they're wording it that way, but what they are saying is, a lot of research scientists now say is that Alzheimer's / even dementia is type 3 diabetes, meaning that almost all of them show signs of elevated prediabetes or type 2 diabetes long before being not diagnosed with that issue. So that's a major correlation. So again, that's not my information. Go dig yourself if you're in that world or you care about making sure you're not in that world. We live in a society that has been trending the last 40 years, that we went from sugar being in hardly anything to now sugar is in everything. It's in your ketchup. It's in your salad. People think they eat a salad. I used to carry this slide around all the time that showed a McDonald's salad. They thought they were selling it. They were buying a health food. But when you counted the croutons and the ranch dressing, there were more simple sugars and carbs in the salad than there was in the quarter pounder. It was the funniest thing when I would show that slide. They'd be like, "You got to be kidding me. I'm eating worse eating a salad. I'd rather have the quarter pounder." Like, it's very tricky in the world today because we don't realize how much sugar is out there. And like, go Google this. Sugar hides underneath 100 plus names: brown sugar, regular sugar, honey. Like, it's all sugar. Maltodextrin is the next sugar, even worse. It's a million different things. Just Google all the names of sugar. You'll see it when you look at it. So leads us into the question that Michelle asked. I do want to say one more thing before I get to the question. And she mentioned that her mom died of that issue in her mid-50s. And anytime you have in your life a traumatic experience, sometimes you want to do everything possible so that you don't have to experience that traumatic event again. So Michelle's lived that now forever. And there is zero doubt that people are genetically dispositioned differently. Some people are definitely genetically dispositioned to be more susceptible to a lot of things. You're more susceptible to become a pre-diabetic, to gain weight, to be all like there's no doubt it plays a huge role. But let me assure you, all the research shows that is not your destiny. You can overcome it 100% of the time by making the correct decision. So you can't say that my mom, my sister, my brother, my aunt were all pre-diabetes or diabetes. I'm going to be too. No, don't eat what they eat and see what happens. Like, if you make the change, you just might not happen. We all know there's people that smoke to 102 years old. They were really genetically gifted. Most of us are not going to be able to do that. So we can't say, well, my grandmother lived to 95 and she smoked. Well, she might have, but she was a lucky woman, because most people that smoke are going to shorten their life. And the science says that sugar is going to shorten it even more than cigarette smoke does. Dig yourself. That's not my information. There's no correlation now to the product I'm about to tell you. That's just research out there. But why the skinny drops? Well, the skinny drops are a formulation that has been around for this is not new. They've been around for like 12 years. They're just finally catching hold. It's sometimes hard for a natural to catch hold because they don't have all the pharmaceutical money behind it. But they're starting to catch hold now. People are becoming aware, but there's 2 bottles that come in it, and bottle 1 has 11 different homeopathic ingredients in there. We're not going to go through them all tonight. We're going to hopefully be here pretty consistently on Mondays, and we'll talk about different ingredients at different times, the ones that help the thyroid, the ones that do different things. But there's a couple of ingredients in there that really do help your body to help itself stabilize the blood sugar levels, not fix it, not fix it. It's not a medication. We're never going to overcome a bad diet. Listen, there's no such thing, but there are some things there that help. But the biggest things are a couple of ingredients there that really suppress the ghrelin hormone. The ghrelin hormone is your hunger hormone. There's some ingredients in there that, because of it helping it stabilize the blood sugar. When blood sugar is stable, you don't have the cravings. And I got to give you this last bit of science. When we spike blood sugar by drinking a Gatorade, by drinking alcohol, it's the same sugar as a Snickers bar. Gatorade's worse for you than Coke. It's the trickiest thing on planet Earth. People choose a Gatorade thinking it's healthier than a Coke, and they both have the same 55 grams of sugar in it. It's doing the identical thing to you. The food industry is very, very manipulative. But when we spike that blood sugar, we release insulin.
It's going to take some more.
And the insulin goes and gets the sugar and stores it in our liver and muscle. They call it glycogen.
Were these mine too?
When they run out of space to store in the liver and muscle, it will then store it in the fat cell. That's how we start gaining weight, because we have too much of that in our body. But what happens is what metabolic syndrome, that insulin sensitivity is that our insulin's released, it does its job, and then we very seldom, as we become adults, ever pull that blood sugar back down to baseline. When we start becoming metabolically unhealthy, the insulin overdoes it. So it pulls your blood sugar below baseline. And when blood sugar goes below baseline, we have uncontrollable cravings. That's when we reach for the Mountain Dew, the Snickers bar, the coffee with 90 grams of sugar in it, because you've added everything there on the Starbucks menu to it. Like it, and we spike blood sugar again. Insulin releases, pulls it below baseline. So it's like this roller coaster all day long. We're tired. We start not sleeping good. We become irritable. All these things are going on. So can we just simply stop eating sugar and not take the drops? You absolutely can. But the question I ask everybody is, why haven't you? The reason that so many of us haven't is because sugar's more addicting than cocaine is to the brain. Like it's a habit. It is a desire. It is addictive. Like we've got to have it once our body gets adjusted to it. These drops, we nickname them liquid discipline, because if you will take them correctly and you will drink half your body weight in water daily, about day 3, 4, or 5, you will begin to notice you have more control over your decision making. If you will actually read the instructions and begin to eat from what we call the approved food list, which is the low glycemic food index, it will not spike your blood sugar. I won't go into all the reasons why, but it just won't. Your blood sugar, between your eating and some of those homeopathic ingredients, will begin to stabilize. And when that blood sugar begins to stabilize, we're not running up and running down like the roller coaster I just described to you. All of a sudden, about a week or two in, like the pizza can be sitting in front of you. You may sociably still want it. Your taste buds may still taste it, but like the uncontrollable desire, I've got to have a piece of pizza, is gone. Like you can now actually make a disciplined decision not to have it. And then you start getting a little momentum when you do that, and you lose a couple of pounds. And then you go all in. And this is what I encourage everybody to do that actually wants to lose weight. Everybody don't take the drops to lose weight. If you want to lose weight, go all in. Like go on that approved food list. I don't care how much you eat. Just eat from the approved food list or from some of the cooks that use the right ingredients there. And guys, it's going to take off. You're going to be stabilized, and your body's going to start feeling better. It's going to start sleeping better. Your energy levels are not only going to improve, but they're going to stay consistent throughout the day. And everybody does not react simultaneously. So I'm just going to speak just a second to the women, the ones that are in that 30 to 55 or 60 year range. Everybody kind of hits that menopause phase at a different time. There's other things going on. When we eat lots of sugar, we destroy our gut health. And the gut health is where your immune system is. And bad gut health can really help to perpetuate very unstable hormones in both men and women. It'll lower our men's testosterone, but it's going to really disrupt women's hormones. Dairy is the #1 hormone disruptor in the world. So the ketogenic diet allows cheese, because cheese does not spike insulin. It's an okay cheat unless I'm having hormonal issues. I have hormonal issues. Like I've got to overcome the hormonal issues. I got to overcome the insulin spots. And then the last thing going on is we are destroying our thyroids. How many women, don't raise your hand or anything, but how many women out there listening right now are on some type of thyroid medication? I'll tell you, 70% of the women have been told they have a low thyroid. Some of you have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease of an extreme low thyroid. So there are some ingredients in the drops that are going to start bringing the thyroid into balance, really promoting balance in your thyroid. Is a better way to say it. We're not healing anything. I promise we're not. But as all of those things begin to line out, the body now gets on your side for weight loss. So the reason I say this does not work equally on time frames for everybody, because everybody arrives here at different levels of health. So if you're arriving here metabolically unfit, you're got full-blown metabolic syndrome, or you're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. But in addition, you have a thyroid that's extremely low, which is a control of your metabolism, your energy, your mood. Like we got to get that moving, and it's a really slow heal on the thyroid. And then if you're in that middle-aged woman scenario and your hormones are all out of balance, well, we got to get your digestive health well. And by the way, if you don't know this, sugar feeds your bad bacteria. So as we cut the sugar supply off, the bad bacteria starts dying off, and the good bacteria starts now having room to grow, which helps your gut health get good. So like if you're a woman and you've not lost a lot of weight your first month or two, like find your wins. Or I'm sleeping better, or my night sweat's going away, or I'm having more energy. Also, look at your diet. Am I actually eating from the approved food list, or am I eating things that I think I can fit in? I always tell people the food list is there for a reason. You can call and ask me a million questions. Can I have this and can I have that? There are things you can have that are on the food list, but I can tell you 100% you can have everything on the food list. And most things people ask me, can they have that aren't on the food list? An answer is no, you can't have it. Had a lady the other day who's as serious as anybody I know about this. And she sent me these 2 pancake things because the front said, because I told this lady you need high protein and healthy fats to start your day, because it'll help you stay satiated all day long and it won't spike your blood sugar. So she found this box that had like 4 bullet points that I said on the front of the box, because the food industry knows we're getting smarter. So everything on the front of the box is always a lie. Just know that. They're not monitored on the front of the box. The only where there's legal issues is on the back of the box where the label is. So when she sent me the box, it said everything that I told her to do. But I said, I can't answer, can you have that, until I see the back of the box. When she sent me the back of the box, it had 35 grams of simple carbohydrates with no fiber attached. 35 grams. So when that happened, I sent it back to her and I said, this is your daily allotment. Like this is the whole day's worth. Plus you're going to spike your blood sugar. You're out of control for the whole day. So the answer is no. So you got food labels long term, but I know, Michelle, I got a little long, but there's a long answer to that question. The drops give you the discipline to eat from the approved food list to fix all the things in our bodies that are making us all not as good as we could be. And that's at all different levels.
That is awesome, Todd. Well, I so appreciate you sharing that. And I hope that blesses somebody here tonight. We know that that's some great information that a lot of people needed to hear, but we know we've got Cynthia Bolden, that she's got something to share that's going to feed right on what Todd Rowland just shared. So Cynthia Bolden, unmute yourself and share with us what you've got for us and why you need these drops in your body.
Wow, is all I can say. Todd was absolutely awesome. I love to listen to him all the time. And I just love that kind of no nonsense, but at the same time, leading with love. So yeah, Michelle, your story, and now Todd. And really, we already had discussed when Todd came on, we was gonna be like, hey, roll out the red carpet and let Todd take it. But what I would just like to say, just to kind of put some ending. I love that we always say, you notice Todd made the claim we don't treat, cure, diagnose here. We don't have to. We have a living body, living cells, an opportunity with a product that feeds our cells, and life-giving and food that feeds our cells. So what a package, what a blessing that we have all of this. So I always like people to remember this way, no pressure here. We're not here to fix anything, but we're here to feed it. To have the opportunity that you have living cells on the inside of you that want to work for you, that want to give oxygen, that produces oxygen for all its life-giving. And I just love what Todd said about, that opportunity. It might have happened to this relative or to that relative, but does it have to happen to you? What did they eat? What were their habits? Well, you know what? Maybe it did happen, but what about us? The opportunity to take these drops, share it with people. And Dr. Strand said something this week that keeps resonating with me, this weekend rather. His thing is, we have them, the world don't. I'm reading the book on the plane. It was a good read. This book that we got, Bionutrition. One of the things that stood out was he said, a doctor's greatest, and we love doctors. He just said he's a doctor. Greatest fear is that they hope you don't ask about supplements. It's in print, okay? So I'm just saying. So here's the deal. In all of my 30-some years of doing what I do, this is what I tell people. Don't fix it, feed it. Understand, let the body work from the inside to the outside. And why I am so excited about these drops, it keeps me from saying, take this, this, and this. Like Todd said, bottle one, all of those 11 ingredients in there to help balance. Again, when you're not fixing, you're balancing. I would be so excited. I am excited that we can give our bodies something and it knows what to do when it's given something good. And the reason we can prove that, how come it knows what to do when it's given something bad? That's a thought. So let's reverse the thought and now look at the opportunity that we really have. Again, great advice. It may take somebody 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. But really, why would we care when we understand that something good is happening? So how good can you really feel? So the real question tonight could possibly be, how good can I really feel? And why do we settle for just a certain feel good? That's a question. If the body can go and feel so bad, why it can't feel so good? So I say for all of us on the drops, and we must get it in the hands. Michelle has changed it. So I done caught on quick. In the hands of billions, we have it. And we have something in our hand that we can share and help people get results. Remember, they have questions. Again, follow that approved food list. Look at it this way. Give it all you have. 30, 60, 90 days. And then you stand back proud and look, wow, look what my body can do for me. And how many testimonies will be won by that and life-giving changes, all because we stood up and said, I'll do it. I'll go. How good can I feel? And now somebody else can follow that. So that's what I had. Thanks, Todd. You're absolutely awesome. And thanks, Michelle.
Absolutely. Well, Cynthia and Todd, I cannot thank you enough for being on with us tonight and for just sharing everything that you just shared. That just it makes it so simple for everybody to hear, why you need these drops. But one last thing I want to share about my story. Y'all heard my story about my mother, lost her life with Alzheimer's at 62. I was 39 when my mother died. My symptoms started occurring 7 years later at 45. So it created a fear for me, Cynthia, as you know, because I think I shared probably at 45 with you what I was experiencing back then, a 14-year journey. But y'all, what I want to leave you with today, we're going to give you some options, okay? If you're here as a guest, you have some options. But I just want to share that my passion is so big. And Cynthia and I have prayed, we've already got these drops in the hands of millions and our products in the hands of millions. And that's why we've changed it. We want to get it in the hands of billions. But when my mother died, the day she died, and I was by her side, and y'all know the story, when death occurs, new life begins. So a new business was born out of my mother's death. But 22 years later, I can truthfully say to you, if you've lost a loved one, you often say, what's the reason for this? God, we know that God, everybody has a designated day that they're going to see their Savior, right? Nobody knows that day. But I prayed that day, God, help me know what's the reason for this? Why God wanted to take my mother early? Y'all, I know now why. Because my mother shared her testimony with everybody during her life. And so now her testimony is growing through her death. So I thank God for that I now know the reason for my mother's death, that we can impact millions, billions of lives. So your call to action tonight, I've got a big mission, I've got a big vision, but so do you. And each and every person out there, you innately want to help somebody next to you, whether you've been on the drops or whether you want to be on the drops. You're automatically thinking of somebody else that you can help. So you have options. If you're already buying these drops from somebody that brought you on this call, and I say, if somebody invited you to this call, praise God, they thought enough of you to get you on this call, to help you with your health and to help you change your life. So be honored, be celebrated tonight that somebody invited you on this call, right? So if you were invited on this call by somebody who has sold you drops, you can continue. So your option number one is you can continue to buy the drops retail. But I'm asking you, why would you do that? I go shopping every day, so do you. Why would you buy retail, full retail for a piece of clothing if you could buy it wholesale, right? So if something's going in your body and you know it's changing your life, I encourage you to look at option number two. We want you to save on your drops, okay? So if you're a brand partner on this call and you brought guests on this call, these are their options. I want you to reach out to them, follow up with them. Are you choosing option one, retail? I say no. I'm not even giving that as an option. Option two is save on your drops. Option three is save and earn. If you're going to share these drops with your next door neighbor, your sister, your mother, your brother, why not get paid for it, y'all? Get paid for recommending these drops to somebody else. And I say there's a number 4. We had a saying this weekend at RPXP, our annual convention, that said, if you want to go fast, you can do it alone. Or if you want to go, well, am I saying it right? Or if you want to go far, you got to do it together. But if you want to go fast and far, you need to go with Partner Co. And so we want to get these drops in the hands of billions. So I say, go with Partner Co. Join us with a $29.95 membership. Get your drops at wholesale, and I want you to share these drops with everybody you know, okay? So get back to the person who invited you on this call and let them know if you're a 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I pray you're a number 4 so that you can help us be an advocate, be a servant to everybody out there. Get these drops in the hands of billions. Thank y'all for being on this call tonight. I love you guys. Get back to the person who invited you on this call. Thank you for being on this call. Thank you, Todd and Cynthia, for sharing your heart, for sharing your knowledge, and helping people understand why you need these drops. Everybody have a great night.
Good night. Great job, Michelle.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.